All right, realistic Pokemon biology part 2. I did part 1 so long ago on the Just Cozy channel. If you guys didn't see it, go watch it. And yeah, bro, look at some realistic Pokemon biology.
Half of a series.
Bro, start from the beginning.
Welcome back to Curious Archive. This video is the second half of a series exploring the biology and ecosystems of realistic Pokemon. The realistic Pokemon art project
I hate how they did Charmander, bro. They did Charmander so bad. And now I know this is supposed to be realistic, okay? But come on, man. I see this in real life. I'm punting it. You crazy? Look at how they did Charmander. This is my favorite Pokemon. Literally, reduced to this. Reduced to this.
Biology and ecosystems of realistic Pokemon. The realistic Pokemon art project was created by the talented RJ Palmer, aka Arvelous, and I have links below where you can follow and support his work. This second round of redesigns features amazing—
That's Gyarados? Nah, they did Gyarados dirty, bro.
—biological details and an even wider variety of Pokemon. But please remember the disclaimer from the first video. These realistic life forms are an exciting speculative exercise, but not an attempt to somehow improve the stylized designs of the original games. They're just fun alternate takes that imagine Pokemon in something closer to real-world anatomy, although of course these life forms are more fantastical than what would likely appear in nature. With that said, let's jump in.
Speaking of Pokemon, I will be finishing Pokemon MMO. I don't know when, to be honest. I think I might do a long stream this weekend, try to get some Pokemon MMO towards the end. Try to finishing the thing. Who's Discord Nody? I think it's mine, bro.
To part 2 of our nature documentary of Another World, and return to the astonishing domain of realistic Pokemon.
Why do you say interesting?
Erdwin Lemon donated $3.
With no message? It's kind of crazy. All right, bro.
Beginning with Gen 2 starters, we have Meganium and its pre-evolutions. The designs of these creatures take inspiration from sauropods, but also from modern tortoises. And while tortoises have evolved to eat grasses, Palmer imagines the long necks of Meganium help them reach their preferred food of treetop fungi. And speaking of fungi, the antenna at the end of Meganium's nostrils are actually a unique strain of fungi, which Palmer states the Titans have a symbiotic relationship with, although the exact purpose of this is unknown. The flower-like structure on the front of their shell is not a plant, however, but a brightly colored frill that mimics flower petals. This might seem strange, but animals camouflaging themselves as plants has been documented numerous times in nature, like insects whose wings have evolved to resemble leaves. Up next, we have Typhlosion and its pre-evolutions, reimagined with greater detail and anatomical plausibility. In its claws and fur pattern, this
Bro, he looks... I ain't gonna lie, bro. They did him dirty. He got done dirty.
Greater detail and anatomical plausibility. In its claws and fur pattern, this reimagining resembles a cross between some sort of badger and a sun bear. Palmer imagines Typhlosion feeds primarily on comb bee hives, and the wax from the hives has a chemical reaction with Typhlosion saliva to create a flammable substance. Typhlosions then use their tongues to coat their quills in this chemical, and then light them on fire using specialized flint-like teeth. The blazing quills are an intimidating display and can burn for long periods thanks to Typhlosion's fire-resistant coat. A really original explanation. And the last starter from the Hoenn region is Alligator and its pre-evolutions, rendered in all their reptilian glory. Not surprisingly, Alligator is most analogous to Earth alligators or crocodiles. Palmer imagines this life form as a large, opportunistic carnivore, lurking in coastal estuaries.
I like it. I ain't gonna lie. This is probably one of the best ones I've seen.
And frequently traveling between salt and freshwater habitats.
I like it. That's fine.
I'd probably watch my step near rivers with these giants around. Moving beyond Generation 2, we have the incredible desert-dwelling Flygon. Palmer envisions that this swift aerial life form possesses a helium bladder that helps the large organism achieve flight. Flygons skim the surface of the desert, looking out from behind a red transparent membrane which protects their eyes from the sand.
Flygon don't look that bad.
And on the sands, near some other interesting desert fauna I'll let you classify on your own, we can find a Trapinch and a Vibrava, both reimagined to look like they could
what Discord is that?
feasibly be early stages in a Flygon's life cycle. In this alternative world, millions of years ago, large prehistoric Pokemon stomped across the land, now known to scientists in the form of fossils. Taking inspiration from the games, Palmer imagines recent technology has revived these long-extinct species, like the mighty Tyrantum and the lumbering Bastiodon, pictured here locked in combat, in poses reminiscent of classic dinosaur art.
Those are
Not surprisingly, Palmer has based his Tyrantum off the T-Rex, and has imagined its beard as a scaly, soft tissue pouch that could flare out to intimidate rivals. It's exciting to imagine these creatures living in the primordial landscape of the Pokemon world 100 million years ago. It almost makes me want to visit a Pokemon museum of natural history. Another fossil Pokemon you might find at such a museum is that of Aerodactyl. Now resurrected as living creatures, the Aerodactyl are now known by Pokemon scientists to be a vibrant shade of purple and to possess early protofeathers on their necks. Elsewhere in this image, one can also spot an Archen and a Cranidos, further fleshing out the
I love Cranidos, I really do.
World of prehistoric Pokemon. Deep in the midst of a past ice age, the mighty legendary Pokemon Kyurem reigned supreme. Here, Palmer has redesigned the stylized armor of the original as more biological plating. Though Kyurem was a creature of almost insurmountable power, the legendary beast Raikou, imagined here as a Smilodon-like Ice Age hunter, would sometimes take the risk and try to ambush this titan. Though a bite of a Raikou could take out most Pokemon, Palmer imagines it had less effect on Piloswines, depicted in this image as Ice Age megafauna with coats so thick they provide a natural defense from the teeth of whatever else might be stalking the tundra. In modern polar and mountainous biomes, one might find the elusive Abomasnow.
Is that the mime Pokemon? Oh, hell no. Look at his little cheeks. Look at
portrayed as a curious, heavily furred biped that Palmer imagines were unknown to Pokemon scientists until the turn
this one is tough, though. This one is tough.
of the century, when a specimen was at last documented. Sharing the frigid biosphere with these seldom glimpsed creatures are the elk-like Pokemon Winter Sawsbucks and the penguin-like Delibird. Another lifeform in this image is the infamous Mr. Mime, reimagined as a species somewhere between a frog and an axolotl. And honestly, I find this redesign a bit nicer to look at than the original. Lurking in the cave systems, one can find Noivern, a species that is a dragon type in the games, but Palmer has reconceptualized as a creature more closely related to bat Pokemon like Swoobats. A single Noivern can claim miles of cave systems as their territory, scaring off competitors with booming sonic frequencies. Swoobats are their smaller cousins, and look much closer to a traditional bat here on Earth. And if you look closely, you can see Joltix clinging to the fur of these species. Palmer imagines these small arachnid Pokemon can create static charges by nestling into the fur of other fluffy Pokemon. Pretty creative.
I think Greninja was in the part 1. Like I said, if you haven't seen the part 1, it's on SocialCozy, bro.
One massive Pokemon Palmer redesigned is Onyx and its evolution, Steelix. Instead of being made of literal rock, Onyx is depicted as a massive serpentine lifeform with rock-like scales. Likewise, a Steelix isn't fully metallic. Instead, exposure to its natural environment transforms its scales into shiny, metallic-looking armor. This process almost reminds me of a scaly-foot snail, a type of marine gastropod that incorporates iron sulfide into protective scales on its body, almost like a natural suit of medieval armor. I could see Steelix perhaps undergoing a similar process to form its own protective scales. And holding on to dear life at the end of these creatures' tails, you can perhaps spy a Sableye, reimagined not as a ghost, but as a tiny primate with strange eyes similar to a Tazier. Palmer describes this species as attracted to shiny objects, which unfortunately for this Sableye included the metallic scales of a Steelix. Under the waves, the aquatic leviathan Gyarados takes on the role of apex predator in almost any aquatic ecosystem they inhabit. This creature recalls the
I need a Gyarados on my team, real rap. Gyarados, Gyarados 5, bro.
Appearance of a deep-sea oarfish, which can grow up to 26 feet or 8 meters in length. Smaller than this version of Gyarados, but still pretty incredible. Palmer imagines the marine biologists of this world for decades didn't realize the comparatively tiny Magikarp were early forms of Gyarados, which makes sense. And nearby, a greater underwater ecosystem flourishes, including Cloyster and a Relicanth, all looking closer to their real-world animal influences. Returning to legendaries, we have the awe-inspiring Pokemon Zapdos, an enormous bird with an incredible electric discharge. Instead of being an elemental deity, this version of Zapdos has an extreme capacity for electricity retention, seeking out thunderstorms high in the atmosphere and gathering electricity like a living lightning rod. A very interesting reimagining. Another electric Pokemon is Raichu, the evolution of
Fucking rat. It's a dirty rat.
Pikachu that also looks quite rodent-like. As you might have already spotted, this image also contains Voltorb reimagined as a Pokeball mimicking Armadillo, and Magnemites and Magnetons as magnetic crabs with red and blue colored claws.
Okay, now that's actually a cool reimagining. Magnetic crabs.
In my opinion, truly hilarious designs for some of the most outside-the-box and challenging original Pokemon. Another ancient and seldom seen legendary.
Oh, he did that.
Redesigned as a life
He did
form
that.
with
That's
more
Lugia.
streamlined aquatic
Oh
features.
no, that's hard.
This
Nah, I
guardian
really
of
like
the
that
seas
one.
looks like something from the Plesiosaurida order, just even larger. Near Lugia are some additional underwater species like Quillfish and Seadra, all of which have far more detail than in
Seadra
their
look ugly
original
as hell.
designs. In the skies, the immense legendary Yveltal, redesigned here as an avian super predator, casts a dark shadow over most flying types whenever it comes out of its deep hibernation. In designing this ancient creature, Palmer took inspiration from the late Jurassic feathered dinosaur Chi, an animal whose wings are perhaps the closest thing nature has ever produced to a dragon's. Swooping just out of reach of Yveltal's claws are Latios and Latias. With this
They look ugly in real life, bro.
duo, Palmer has merged the stylized, airplane-like elements of the original designs with the anatomy of various real-life bird species, creating more plausible but still agile-looking life forms. And in the other corner of this image, you can spot a scalier-looking Salamence, whose wings, according to Palmer, are formed from membranes extended over an enlarged set of ribs. This might seem far-fetched, but real-life Draco lizards are capable of gliding flight thanks to a set of wings that are, indeed, supported by their elongated ribs, as you can see by this skeleton. And since we touched on Groudon in part 1, we have to touch on its oceanic counterpoint Kyogre, which looks downright
Kyogre, oh my god, that is sexy. That's a beautiful.
inspiring and realistic detail. Palmer imagines this legendary as a Leviathan.
This was one of the first legendary Pokemon I ever seen.
Somewhere
Like in game.
between a whale and the absolute largest of marine reptiles. To capture prey, Kyogre can use a dazzling bioluminescent display to lure in smaller species like Tentacruel. Above the feeding Kyogre, a swarm of Frillish and Jellicent drift by, their anatomy much closer to that of an earth jellyfish. And if you look closely, you might have spotted Sharpedo, whose stylized body has been reworked with a design that takes inspiration from sharks, of course, but also ocean sunfish, a strange and truncated looking organism. This Sharpedo is going up against the nautilus-like Amistar, another prehistoric species that was recently revived. And as our grand finale, we have the mythical and legendary Rayquaza, looking truly epic in realistic detail. This mighty serpent is exhibiting an unknown display of bioluminescence as it soars through the upper atmosphere, a sight that would be intimidating to behold. Exactly how such a creature is capable of flight is unknown, and would likely require a variety of specialized flight organs. Believe it or not, there is a type of snake called a paradise tree snake that can glide for brief periods by leaping off trees, holding its body flat, and curving in a way which allows it to coast through the air. Rayquaza, of course, is taking this to a new level. And there's an entire aviary of flying types flocking in Rayquaza's shadow, including Pidgeot, Braviary, and others, all of whom look much more like birds you might see here on Earth. And with that, we've covered the majority of realistic Pokemon in the project. If you want to dive even deeper into this world, there are extra designs, including some additional legendaries, on RJ Palmer's site and in his art books, so check the links below.
Man, I hope you guys enjoyed that video right there. I know a lot of people was waiting for a long time. I haven't checked this out in over a month or 2 months. So there you go. Realistic Pokemon Biology Part 2. I ain't gonna lie. My favorite one had to be Kyogre. This one is, oh my god, with the bioluminescent lights. Everything about it is just so sexy, bro. I love it. But let me know what you guys want down below in the comments. Let me know you guys enjoyed that video right there. See y'all in the next time.